way out in left field with this one. This is gonna kind of just serve as B-roll. I'll get to talking when I get to talking about this, when it comes to the stuff that you guys are here for. But before I get to that, I just wanted to just throw something out there a little different. And it'll make sense at the end as to why. But I've been making an effort to like just go out there and like, acknowledge the new members, the greenies, like tell them, yo, you're here again. So it's like, yo, someone acknowledges that I'm here and they're happy to see that, hey, I'm going to the gym, because this is kind of hard and intimidating at times. Acknowledging their hard work, their effort, all that. Because here's the thing, man, if you're here in this part of fitness YouTube. It's like you're in this, man. You're not in that whole other section. You know what I'm talking about. The majority of what's going on here, just confused. It's a lot of things, right? So nevertheless, we are so far removed sometimes from what it's like to be a wide-eyed, ignorant newbie, right? And just the entry barrier when it comes to this. I think a lot of people think gym and they think, oh no, it's not for me. It's for people who just kind of out the box already like look sexy. They look right. They're strong. They're yoked. They're jacked. All that. When in reality, no, man. I think anyone who really, really understands what's going on here, they wish more people would strength train. Me personally, I wish the whole world would strength train. I wish, to me, I'm a little biased here, absolutely, but I think it's the closest thing to a perfect form of exercise. And once you really get into the nuts and bolts of things, this is actually really, really simple. Let me tell you this. So like my mom, 57 years old, she started weight training as of 3 years ago once she moved into the state I currently reside in, Colorado. So she came from California here to this square state, and we've had her on a strength training program ever since. And like legitimately, it's been like reverse aging. Like I knew it does this, but to see it in practice, something totally different. And let me tell you what, like if you're new watching this, like yeah, you go to the gym, you see like them gals over there in the little Gymshark outfits, that dude with the nipple out, veins everywhere. You look at these folks and quite often you're like, man, like I don't know where to start, to be quite honest. But let me tell you this, me, from my perspective, this is one of the reasons that I do these videos, is because I just want the gym world to be a little bit more competent when it comes to this. Most of these folks are not at the level that I think they should be, especially when I take their training age, how long they've been going to the gym into account. But the reason they get results is because they keep showing up more than anything. So that's a big part of it. But let me tell you what, I think now more than ever, when it comes to strength training and resources, if you know how to find them, and I'm going to tell you about a big one in a second here. If you know how to find them, it can really streamline the whole process. It can really condense it into a very clear and comprehensive system. So the muscle and strength pyramids that you see below is basically what, honestly, it took me 10 years to learn. All there. And you can finish it in a few days. You probably will, because you get excited and you're like, oh shoot, I see how this works. This all is starting to freaking make sense. You do that, you apply it to the gym, you're consistent, because again, those folks who ain't even doing it right, they get the results because they just keep showing up. You do that, you nail a few of your goals, whether it's like losing 30 pounds, get in those abs, feeling sexy for the first time in your life. Yo, like I know it sounds funny, but it's like legitimately, it's a valid goal. So get in there, get some goals done, and it's going to impact like so many other things in your life, so many other things. I know that for me, this is really it's made it easier to do scary things, because I'm always like reminded of like that initial like couch resistance to like go out and do it and get myself off the couch, and how hard it was and how scary the gym was at a certain point, and how like basically how ignorant and out of place I felt. So along with that, I think now more than ever, people need friends, and your phone don't count as a friend. And through the gym, you'll meet some really rad people. I know that for me personally, I've made some lifelong friends, like through the gym. Actually, 3D Muscle Journey, this company, through lifting weights we met. So again, it's for everyone. Don't let someone make you feel out of place, because be quite honest, if I were to look at them, I'm like, you incompetent fool, you don't even freaking know how to leg press correctly. You've been doing this for 8 years. I wouldn't say that, but nevertheless, don't let anyone make you feel out of place. Strength training is legitimately one of the best things you can do for yourself, health-wise, both mental, physical. And once you get into it and you do it, you get a few things done, accomplish a few of your goals, you're going to absolutely get it, and you're going to want to pass it on. And if you do that, don't forget to pass it on. And those of you guys who are listening, who come in and tune in every week, pass this on to someone who, again, like maybe you think they would enjoy lifting weights, but maybe they're a little intimidated. Maybe someone who again, they don't necessarily fully understand why it is that you're so infatuated when it comes to fighting gravity and eating your proteins. So anyhow, okay, back to the regular jargon that we see here. So the first set, actually 110 pounds for a set of 6. I know I wasn't going to get 7 is like the low end of my rep range there, but I'm taking a week off after this. So yeah, I felt the need to try, and now shorter rep. I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen, but hey, whatever. Emptying out the tank simply because, again, I'm taking a week off. So we did a few intensity techniques here, things that I usually don't do, because what I'm trying to do here is like connect many good weeks together. Shoot, a lot of epiphanies of late. Always. I swear I don't train stone, man. That's just where my brain goes. I like to think, not necessarily as I train, but like in between sets, it's definitely like my talk to me time. These are push-ups after dips, and that's why I can only do so many push-ups. It's because of that. It's not because, yo, Bert, you can't even do a push-up. Spine is pretty neutral. We just have a lot of like junk back there. But I'm glad you can see the contour of a butt, because I honestly store a lot of fat in my lower back. So, yo, we're doing good. But yeah, I guess thought of the week. Not that kind of thought. No, we're never doing that, guys. But yeah, basically, you will hear it quite frequently that is like the relationship between volume and hypertrophy, and how perhaps the longer you do this, the more volume you will need. And you know what? Let me counter that with something. I think this goes for almost anyone who's been doing this long enough. Like, look at how you performed a set now versus how you performed a set, say 2 years from now, 4 years, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, right? And things change. You get better. You get so much more out of every single rep. So that kind of brings up the question: is your technique gets better, and you learn new things. The impact of every single rep is greater, right? Not just because of the technique adjustments, but also because you should have gotten stronger over that time. So when I stop and I think about that, I'm like, oh shoot, I can totally see where, let's just say, a body part that I am averaging maybe 14 sets a week with, how maybe 2 years from now, because I'm so much more locked in, so much more poised, so much more better in regard, and just more educated in regards to like what needs to take place within that exercise, within each rep. Again, it's just the magnitude of stimulus should be greater, right? Makes sense to me. So could it get to the point that perhaps you are just so lethal with each rep that you might have to maybe adjust your volume downwards, and you're like, you know what, this used to be a 14 set thing, but now like 10 sets combination of like my strength increases, how much more competent I am when it comes to how I move, I have to bring it down a notch, and like boom, now I am progressing again, because I was doing way too much damage pounding before. So yeah, something to think about. This movement is definitely not there. It's still good, guys. It's still a good hinge. One of my athletes did this, I'd be like, yo, it's pretty good. And it's one of those things, like, so there's like bad form where it's like, you need an intervention, bro. You're gonna snap your stuff, or you're just really not doing what you think you're doing. And then there's that kind of form where, or sometimes like with my athletes, I'm like, hey dude, stop running 80 Qs through your head. It's kind of, you're in that place where it's kind of like self-correcting, and as you get more reps in, as you add load carefully, and when you should, it's going to kind of on its own self-corrected mutate, and that's kind of sort of where I feel I am with this movement. So 275, we kept it there. We'll see what we do when we get back, but I think we might just keep running that for a few more weeks, because every week I am figuring out like this thing, that thing. Yeah, so again, not a bad looking hinge, just not as good as my good morning stroke. That one was good, but it does, I think, just the difference when you load up here versus when you load down here in regards to fatigue. So we're gonna just let it hang. So hamstring curls. Here's one of those things that I usually don't do. We did some force negatives, and it was a good learning chance for like my training partner here, because she's never done this before, and I honestly, in the last few years, since I haven't really had a training partner, I haven't done a whole lot of that, and since she's kind of a blank canvas when it comes to that, like I can get her to do it exactly how I want it to be done, as opposed to like if I would have hooked up with some bro at the gym, he might have like not necessarily insisted, because I wouldn't have let that happen, but it's just harder to unlearn and then like relearn things. So yeah, we did these. They were done myo rep fashion per the spreadsheet, and then just some eccentrics at the end, where I was getting help on the concentric, and then yeah, and then the partner was tugging on the eccentric, and yeah, it felt pretty good. But on hamstrings, it almost kind of freaks me out, man. Like there's just so much length there, and so much range of motion that I literally feel like my hamstrings are going to pop out in a good way, but also just until it feels a little sus sometimes, right? So yeah, this was my myo rep. By the time I got to muscular failure on the concentric part, we took advantage of the fact that the eccentric part still had a little bit of oomph left. But yeah, full week off, no training this next week. Just gonna eat, catch up on my sleep, catch up on work. I know, and just other little things. That's one thing I do try to do with whenever I do take a week off. Not that I procrastinate on things, but you realize just how much time you do spend in the gym. Like even if it's 2 hours, say 4 days a week, that's still 8 hours, man. 8 new hours. You can do a lot of productive things with them, or you can just do other things like chill with your dogs, watch some Netflix, read a book. Just again, it's new time I'm not used to having, and we'll definitely we'll get into some trouble, but more than anything, just kind of sit there and regenerate a bit. But this has been a super fun training block. I think upon getting back, just because we have been adding load to just about everything consistently, I think a nice little dip in high reps might be in order. So a few things that you can't necessarily see from this angle, but so I lifted my butt up, so that's what the black pad, the purple pad behind me, used to just get a little bit more range of motion, but the money part was that bottom pad, so it's just like lifting me up a little bit, because this leg press, it's on the axis, right? And when you see basically the axis point, the joint right here that the leg press is moving through, and my hip. So usually it's just a little bit higher, and that can cause, not that it was causing butt wank, but I was fighting butt wank. And then by elevating my butt a little bit, what ended up happening is like, now they're even. And yeah, I didn't. I still tried to do good work, but it was just let me focus more on basically working hard. So I wanted to show this cluster that Cynthia here did, simply because so recovering plyometric bikini gal is what we have here. And over the last few weeks, I've been really just drilling all the basics, all the fundamentals, all the things that I wish I would have learned from the start. They weren't fully accessible, but that's a different story. And I think one thing that once you get into this long enough, and this kind of goes back to where we started. It is so cool to use this instrument, your body, to like push yourself and do new things and find new limits. It's addicting, and I think that's why a lot of um, you see a lot of former athletes do either the bodybuilding or the powerlifting simply because um, like we miss doing that, you know, and this kind of fills that void. So that's one thing she's getting at. It's just like, I had no idea that I could do this. Um, so, and again, that's one thing. Once a noob figures it, like does something, they're like, I had no idea I had that in me. Game over. They're just they're lifers pretty much. This was a PR, paused 110s for a set of 10. Man, yeah, I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. I'm gonna bring down the weight some because again, I do want to do just like maybe about 6-8 weeks of some higher rep work just to keep the old man joints healthy because they have been. So I think I got to respect that. You know, we got some progress. I'm still gonna progress. I'm still gonna put on muscle. It's just yeah, there's just some practicality to some of the rep ranges we have been using. I mean, that's what I think I'll do. We'll see when I get back. We'll see how we feel. Um, but yeah, this was just a wonderful sequence across the board. Basically, every set was a PR. I love the pauses again because part of the whole issue, the catch 22 to dumbbell presses is like the bungee jump, right? Um, and and when you're doing pauses, again, it's like you're for me, my 15 RM, right? Well, that's my grip I use, by the way. So it's kind of like a bulldog grip. I like it on dumbbells. Don't practice it, man. It's not for everyone. But I've been doing this lift for like over 20 years. But I love the bulldog grip on the dumbbells. It just really helps it stay in where it should in my hand. But yeah, so my 15 RM turns into like my 10 RM, which means that first rep is just less of an issue, and there's just less anxiety. One thing I've been really proud of, especially with like my top sets, which if you see the spreadsheet, I do use them. I do one heavier set and then I back off. Is that my technique has just been so on lock. I feel so confident with it that I change nothing when I get to those heavy loads. Because how many of y'all have been there, right? Where it's like, this is different, this is heavier, and you change something and it like just completely messes you up. So like, nope, no anxiety, no nothing. Confident in my technique, change nada. So it's been awesome to just feel that confident. Motor rows. So these have been. Try these out. If you can't find your lats, try these out. Thank me later. Or tag me later. Either one. Okay, so look, I'm taking a week off. I'm probably not going to upload something next week. Perhaps, maybe not, maybe so. But I appreciate you guys just being here with me. Again, anyone who like just has been here, not necessarily from the start, but like just who's just cheering me on to like keep uploading. It's like all the positive words, man. Like, dude, I'm a fucking human at the end of the day, and life gets overwhelming. And sometimes I don't want to do these things. Sometimes I don't want to bust out the camera. Sometimes I don't want to come over here, edit, and do this, this talky part, right? But you guys, honestly, like the feedback I get after like every video, like it makes it worth it, and it has been helping me in regards to just me being more objective in the gym because I have to set the example, right? So yeah, guys, with that said, I'm gonna enjoy my week off. Enjoy these last few clips here. So last set of my last cluster of myo reps on these motor rows. Then you're going to see, I guess, the Rockies or my wedgie, and then I'm just gonna leave it there. And then yeah, I went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and it was pretty dope. Thought I'd throw this in here without it making it like a total, like come check out my my vacation footage. But yeah, it's been real, guys. Again, 50-50 on next week. I'll probably upload something. And don't forget to send that first part to someone who's brand spanking new when it comes to this lifting, because you can't keep this stuff secret, man. It's that good, and it's good for everyone. And the world will just be a better place if we all lifted weights. I firmly believe that.